Help yourself.
You can sit up with me.
We'll call our meeting to order. And I think we have a quorum. Okay, and what I would like to do instead of the approval of the, well, first we'll introduce our guest. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, ma'am. My name is Amy Nastagonda, and I'm a case manager, outreach coordinator with the Human Trafficking Program at Catholic Charities of Louisville.
Okay. I won't remember that name, so hold me to it. Amy.
That's reasonable.
My name is Megan Chung. I'm a U of L Master's in Social Work student, and I'm interning with Catholic Charities this year.
Okay.
I'm Heidi Wilhelm. I'm with Flagey Memorial Hospital Foundation, and I'm part of the Nelson County Task Force.
Yes, you were the one that called me.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Heidi, all right. Would anybody else like to introduce themselves? Okay. Hearing none, then I'd like to, I have to rescue my granddaughter, so what I'm wanting to do is to change the agenda to have the human trafficking begin our program.
Okay, great. And I just kind of wanted to give you and everyone here like an overview of what human trafficking is. I did pass out statistic sheets that we have. Typically we update those every year, so this is from March 2014. We are in the process of updating ours right now, and actually we should have them completed by the end of next week, but I didn't have all of it. But just to go ahead and let you know, like right here it says 160 victims of human trafficking have been identified in Kentucky. At this point there is well over 200 that have been identified since 2008. So I don't know if anybody here is familiar with what human trafficking is. It is known as, it's been called like modern day slavery. There are two types of human trafficking. There's labor trafficking and there's sex trafficking. For it to be considered human trafficking, it has to have one of three components: force, fraud, or coercion. So when we're talking about force, that could be somebody being held in captivity, that could be someone being beaten into submission, forced drugging, so having someone, like forcing them to take drugs, get them addicted to drugs, so then they'll be more vulnerable. Also, rape. So these are types of force that can happen. Fraud, so basically any type of lie to tell somebody to get them to come with them. So if we're talking about labor trafficking, an example of that would be, say we have someone that is living in another country, and whether they answer an ad in the paper or if somebody physically comes to talk to them and say, I have a job for you. They give them like ideas about what the job could be. It's going to pay this much money. You'll work this many hours. We will get you over into the United States. We'll help set you up to get, a visa there, and then at some point bring your family over. But when they come over, they say, well, it took this much money for you to be able to, for us to be able to get you into the United States, so you're going to have to work that off. And a lot of times they'll put in an added interest, and with the amount that they actually pay them, they're never able to pay off. And so they're forced usually to work 7 days a week, 12 to 18 hours a day. When you're talking about domestic servitude, sometimes that could be 24 hours. The person is subjected to work at the whim of the trafficker. So they could have worked all the way until 11 o'clock at night, gone to sleep, and then the trafficker needs them to do something at 2 in the morning while they're at the whim. If you're talking about sex trafficking, an example of fraud would be someone portraying themselves to be, let's say, to a girl being the boyfriend of their dreams, and that they're going to get them away from, like family issues or issues that they're having. I'm the guy that's going to come in. I'm going to save you. I'm going to build up trust. You're going to think that I love you. And then at some point, once I've gotten your trust and that you think that I love you and you love me, then I'm going to ask you, oh, well, we need rent this month. And Bobby said, hey, if you have sex with Bobby, then I will, pay your rent. And it starts out that way. But the person thinks that, well, he loves me. Then, it continues to happen. But in their mind, they're doing something for the person that they love. Coercion, and coercion is the hardest to prove, is any type of it's basically psychological. So I'm going to tell you, like in a labor trafficking situation, I'm going to tell you that if you go to the police, that you're going to get arrested, you're going to get sent back to your country. You're the one that's going to get in trouble, because a lot of times when they're coming over into our country, they do not know anything about our laws. They'll take their papers. So then, they're not even able to prove, who they are. They will sometimes beat other people in front of them and be like, if you don't comply, then this is what I'm going to do to you. I know there's been examples of people that have driven by me like, well, that's where I buried that body. So it's very psychological. They're going to get them, they're going to play mind games to get them to have their control. Unfortunately, that coercion a lot of times is what's utilized, and it is the hardest to prove. I always, talk to the people that we work with, and it's like, you can't take your fear out of your belly and put it out and say, well, this is how much fear I have, So a lot of times coercion is the hardest to prove. I will say that there's one instance where you do not have to prove force, fraud, or coercion, and that's with anybody under the age of 18. So if there's any type of trafficking involved, then you do not have to prove that. Especially within sex trafficking, commercial sex trafficking, you do not have to prove force, fraud, or coercion. If they are involved in any type of commercial sex act, it is automatically considered trafficking. And that's throughout the entire state of Kentucky. And that's called our Safe Harbor Law, which went into effect on June 30th of 2013. And we have the strongest Safe Harbor law in the country. Actually, Kentucky does. So they are not able to be treated as criminals. They're not allowed to be arrested for those activities. They are automatically, it's automatically investigated by DCBS as a child abuse case, and they have to be giving services to help them get out of the situation. So those are the two types of trafficking. And then I kind of wanted to open up to questions, because I'm sure that a lot of people have questions about trafficking in Kentucky.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
What is the most frequent, what time of year do you see this the most? Is there a season that favors that, or a celebration around in Kentucky that getting that?
I see where you're going, because we do a lot of, I see a lot of media attention on during the Kentucky Derby, and there is research. They did, Dr. Teresa Hayden at the University of Louisville, she did research for Backpage. And Backpage is like Craigslist, and I remember how Craigslist had the escort page and that got shut down. Well, Backpage has the escort list, and you can go in there, and she did for about a year, it was a little bit over a year, she looked at all the events in Kentucky to see if the ads on Backpage went up. And they did. Actually, the biggest increase we saw was during the NCAA tournament. So anytime there was a game played in Louisville, that's when it went up. It also does go up significantly when it's the Kentucky Derby, because you have a lot of people coming in. I think it's great to show that, but I also like to stress that it does go up during those times, but it is happening every single day. So trafficking is happening every single day in Kentucky, and not just at these events. But it does, yeah, you will see an increase in certain events. Yes, ma'am.
Can you recognize, how do
you recognize when it's trafficking?
Yeah, well, when you see, how do you know you're not, I'm not someone who partakes of prostitutes, but
I know I have a thing that I brought out too that has some
children,
of the red flags for sex trafficking. Like I said, they kind of look at it as a form of child abuse. Yeah. So you might, have a child. I think when we're talking about, because you said child, when we're talking about that, is if they, have an older boyfriend. If there is a controlling third party, you're always kind of noticing that the child's not free to speak when they're around, or if there's somebody kind of in the background monitoring that. They have, a lot of times too, they're branded. So they may have a tattoo on their chest or their neck. Now, I know that these days too, kids are getting tattoos younger and younger. So a tattoo or even an older boyfriend isn't, a point. Well, that's trafficking. But if you kind of look at these things in conjunction, if you see a kid that has an excess amount of cash, that, they don't have a job, quote unquote, but they have excess cash, or they have nice clothing, jewelry, handbags, but they don't come from a family that typically has that kind of money, because a lot of times traffickers kind of overwhelm the person with gifts. They lavish them with gifts to kind of, get them in that vulnerable position, to get them to trust them. Hotel keys, somebody being in, like possession of several different hotel keys. That might be. But I always just say it's just if you always see someone, you're talking to someone, or you see something and you just think that it's kind of off. Depending on your relationship with the person, like if it's somebody you may know, you may be able to ask some more questions, or you can always, and I will give everybody my business card, you can contact me. We have a website, which is rescueandrestoreky.org, and you can find our email addresses on there to contact. You can also find a lot of more information about like different red flags, what you can do. You can call the National Human Trafficking Hotline. And also, if you see something and it doesn't seem right, you can always call local law enforcement and have them investigate.
I see 25 state and 2 federal charges, indictments in Kentucky. Do you know how that compares to other states as far as prosecuting?
I honestly don't.
Okay,
I
was just curious.
But you know what? I could look it up, and then if you give me your email address, I can get you the information later.
I was just curious.
And that's not. I don't think that's even. There'll be a little bit more now. I mean, I don't know if you all have seen the news. At least there's been 3. In Franklin County and then in Lexington. I can't remember if it's 2 in Lexington and 1 in Franklin County or the other way around. And they were all for child sex trafficking. And that's happened in the last couple of months. And then we just had a conviction, and it was trafficking of the gentleman who was from Ohio, Cincinnati, I believe, and he was bringing girls down to Louisville.
So the most vulnerable demographic here would be children?
For trafficking, sex trafficking, you're looking at anybody that's vulnerable, and children and teenagers are a very big vulnerable population just during that time. But you're also looking at vulnerable populations would be homeless, anybody that has abuse in their background, whether it be sexual abuse, physical abuse, if there's any type of drug abuse. You're and I always get this acronym confused, LGBT. Yes, that population. Anyone that's a foreign national. So those are the vulnerable populations typically. But I always say that anybody could be vulnerable because the traffickers are going to suss out who is vulnerable. And at all points in our life, we've all had like a point where we've been vulnerable, depending on what's going on in our life, and they try to suss that out. But that is that I just said is the biggest, that they're the most vulnerable typically, and they're targeted.
Do the groups that do this, are they online a lot, trying to reel people in that way? And if they are, how do you fight that? Like social media, I'm sure.
Social media is hard. It's a beast all within itself. And yes, there is a lot of people that utilize social media, but not necessarily all the time. We're seeing an increase in parents trafficking their children. So what they do is they may have like a debt to pay off, whether it's a drug debt or they need to get drugs, and so they're utilizing their children to pay off. So we're seeing a lot of that. We see people, I know in Louisville, that they kind of know where to be in town, and if they, so we have some residential placements, and if the kids run away from there, they're set up so that they can kind of approach them then. So there's different tactics that social media is, because you can portray yourself to be anybody on social media.
Now, most of the human trafficking in Kentucky, does it seem to be, is it people brought into the state, or is it like they've lived here all their lives and get sucked into it? Do you know?
I don't know 100% the percentages, but the majority of the people that I work with currently right now are from Kentucky. And then I'm trying to think of all together, in our organization. Because we do have people that, were trafficked that are from other countries and then from other states. But then we also do have people that were trafficked in Kentucky. I don't have the particulars. But when we do these stats, the fact sheet I have right here, it is based on people that were trafficked in Kentucky.
The update, when it comes, will it be available online?
It will be available online, yes, and it'll be on that website that I told you all about. And we are currently working on it right now, so hopefully it'll be done by Friday. But It will 100% be done by October 22nd, because we're actually having a human trafficking summit in Louisville. It's an all day. If anybody would like to come, it's at the Fraser Museum, and it's End Human Slavery ky.com, and you can go on there and register. We're going to have like a survivor panel. We're going to have somebody talking about like the connection to strip clubs, to trafficking. We're going to have, and I'm going to apologize blank right now, because we have a whole bunch of people coming. It's just going to be, it's 8:30 to 5. It is an all day. We have something on victim services. Do you remember what else?
The guy from the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children.
Yes, he's the Ernie Allen. So he is the keynote speaker. We're also going to have something on labor trafficking.
It's going to be a law enforcement.
That's what I was going to bring up today. Is I thought this might be an excellent month to bring up forced child labor in the cocoa in Ghana. You know, do some sort of boycott against the chocolate companies. You know, it being October and Halloween, and you know, everybody says they're against slavery. You know, and it's absolutely been proven over and over again. It's slavery.
Yeah.
So I just thought, will that be?
Well, that's interesting because, you know, we what it's called the Human Trafficking Summit, a call to action. So it's going to be also what you can do within your community, within the state, to take a stand against human trafficking. So that's actually a good point to kind of maybe bring up to people that, you know, you should boycott chocolate in this month or something like that.
Like some sort of,
because we're going to have like what you could do right now, and then what you could do more longer term. Because we have an outreach that we do, and we're actually trying to bring it to the Nelson County area. It's called the Hope Campaign, and we have that outreach in Lexington and in Louisville. It's getting ready to start in Shelby County again, and they have it in Franklin County. And we take chapsticks with the National Human Trafficking Hotline on it, and we go, like Lexington goes to places like hotels, laundry mats, different businesses. In Louisville, we kind of focus strictly on the hotels. We go to 55 hotels right now, and we just ask those places to have the chapsticks available, and if they see somebody that may kind of meet some of these red flags, to hand it to them. I actually got data from the National Human Trafficking Hotline on there to find out, to see if we've had an increase in calls in the Jefferson County area, just to see. And in 2012, we had 4 calls in that area to the hotline. In 2013, it was 6, and in 2014, and we started the outreach in January 2014, we had 55 calls. Now that is also in conjunction with, we have a outreach called Free to Hope. It's a nonprofit organization, and they take like little sticky signs and put them into businesses that have the National Human Trafficking Hotline on it. And also there's been an increase in education, I think, here, but I think that is significant. So we're trying to get the outreach implemented in more areas as well.
Sneaky, that chapstick. It's good.
One of the things that I would ask, and this may be completely impossible to answer, but I find that people, especially here in Bardstown, are more prone to be proactive if it is something that has actually happened here. Do we have any instance where someone has been from Bardstown or the Nelson County area in another place possibly?
And I can look through, you know, to see all our data to find, you know, like if it's occurred within Nelson County or somebody from Nelson County. And I'm not I don't have that data in front of me right now, unfortunately.
And I think that would be, because,
There was an Asian restaurant that actually they discovered the people that were working there were getting very low wages and actually living there in a very tight area.
It was a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
About 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah.
The problem that we have is that, you know, we have these statistics, but we always say this is just showing a fraction of what's actually happening, because we don't have, you know, it's just kind of, the issues kind of just come to light, really, you know, honestly, in the last couple of years. Not many people are educated, so you may even see trafficking, but not be aware that you're seeing trafficking. And then there's, you know, that thought, because I know when I talk to people, they're like, well, I thought that only happened in other countries. So people don't even realize that it's occurring in the United States, let alone in their community, you know, and it is. So it's just even hard to even get reports. Like we always
be the bad guy's best, to me, protection is it can't be happening here.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Precisely.
Or that if it is happening here, it's people that were brought in from other countries, so it's not even our citizens that it's happening to. And I will tell you that the majority of the sex trafficking survivors that I work with are all United States citizens. We're all born in the United States.
I wasn't laughing at the statistics, but the fact that the term brought in is something that's widely used in this area.
Mm-hmm.
If you weren't born and raised here, you're a brought in.
Oh, really?
So.
What were you saying?
I
Sorry.
was going to say, do you want to talk about the task force, what we're made of, the members, and what we've been doing, the trainings and
Yeah,
things?
I'll let you talk
wanna do
about the
it?
task force.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, ma'am.
This kind of comes from the CSI mentality,
Yes,
and I'm
ma'am.
sorry, that's all I have. But is there an organized crime aspect of it? It seems like what I'm hearing is that these are like individualized things that are happening. You know, there's not some umbrella group like you see on television that's pulling the strings for all of this.
And no, there
Is
can
there
be,
both?
there can be, yes, it can be both. And what we're also noticing too is like there's a lot more gang involvement into it now too, because you're going to make a lot of money with human trafficking. I think that, and I can't remember what year, but it's set to surpass drug trafficking is the highest, like with income, yeah, 2017. Because you have to think about it as, you know, if you have drugs, you're going to give that product, and you're going to use it and it's gone, right? And unfortunately, how thought of, you know, if you have a product as a human, you can use that human over and over and over again. So more people are seeing it to be lucrative. So there can be an organized crime. I mean, like we talk about how there's rings, you know, like look at 65. Like you can go from Indianapolis to Louisville to Nashville and move those people. But it can be it can be organized crime. It can be individuals. I think, you know, it also is people that, you know, just utilize it for opportunity, like the parents who are trafficking their children. That might not be something that they had, you know, like thought of, but oh hey, I do have this commodity basically to be able to use to get my drugs. So sometimes it's just by opportunity, and then sometimes it is organized. I can't tell you of any organized crime, like right now. I don't know, like.
So you have like entrepreneurial perpetrators, is what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
that's what I'm saying is like if you. It would just seem like if you even suspected something like that, you'd have to do it gently, because if you go in there with stormtroopers, which is basically Bardstown Police Department, they're gone. You know what I mean? It's, you know, it would be gone. You know what I'm saying? That whoever was doing it would.
I mean, there would have
pack
to
up
be
and be
a
gone.
lot of investigation,
You know, and have
before
to
they
be-
could.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that we're advocating for with the summit is it was actually put into law in 2013 that Kentucky State Police are supposed to be developing a human trafficking unit specifically for that across the state. And that's one of the things that we're advocating for, to work with KSP to implement that so that there's better investigation and a focus around the state with that.
What date was the Fraser event?
It's October 20th. It's a Tuesday.
Oh, did I say 22nd? I think it did. I apologize very much that I put the wrong date on.
Is there a cost involved?
It's $20 and lunch is included. You're gonna have a lot of organizations there too that have their table, like, so organizations that, you know, in some way, shape, or form, like work with like trafficking in some way. So like, you know, you can get more information on them as well to find out like who's doing what.
I would think if anybody did want to go, the commission could pay the bill for that. Wouldn't you agree, Mike?
Yes.
Yeah.
We would be
Definitely.
happy to see you
So,
all. It's
yeah.
going to be a great day. We're very excited about it. And you were going to talk about the task force.
The 20. I'm sorry, what did you want to know?
The task force.
Yeah, do you guys want to know how the task force got started and who's comprises at least the Nelson County Task Force? This was part of, I think it was probably 3 years ago. As you may know, Flagey is part of Catholic Health Initiatives. a national health system. And the Sisters of Charity of Nazareth are also actually one of the congregations that formed CHI. They received, the sisters received a grant to, and I don't remember the amount, but to form a task force and to look at it in this area. It was a 2-year grant. And so they put together a group that includes the U.S. Attorney's Office. They've got Catholic Charities, Rescue and Restore, the Federal Bureau of Investigation. We've got some sisters, some self-relief, sexual assault. I can't remember the whole, but we've got, you know, advocacy groups.
Lawyers
like
from Legal Aid are there as well.
Legal Aid as well, yeah. And then just some of the sisters or a couple people from Flagey. We've been able to do quite a few trainings at Flagey, especially with our emergency department, for them to try to identify if they see any situations. And also our admitting people were also trained as well. So what we do, what we're tasked with is really just spreading the word to groups like you and anyone that would like a training. We're more than happy to go and do that as well.
And we're happy to have any of you sitting at the table that would like to come. I think we're meeting next Wednesday, and it's from 11:30 to 12:45 typically. It is at the
SEN Center.
Yeah, do you know the address? Because I never.
I don't, but you know, as you're going into Nazareth from, say, 3rd Street, you would take the first right. And it's that SEN Center that there's a lake in the back. I don't know the address, but it's in there.
What was the time again? Sorry.
It's 11:30 to 12:45. It doesn't always last till 12:45. It just kind of depends on what's on the table that day. So we kind of just talk about like our efforts, what's kind of going on around. We usually do an education piece on that day too. And we are, you know, we're just, one of our biggest efforts, like Heidi was saying, is we're trying to provide as much education as we can into the Nelson County area, and so just kind of looking for different places to educate on what human trafficking is and how you might encounter it. And I brought some brochures. I'm going to leave all of this stuff just kind of in the middle of the brochures, and it's just like a little red flag.
We have some books too, with your group, and you can share them. The sisters, or the task force, actually had Holly Austin Smith, who wrote this book. I was a guest. We had a forum, I think it was maybe about 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Was it 2 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And Holly was there and gave her testimony. Yeah, it was really good.
We have copies of that at the library too.
Oh, fantastic.
That's interesting.
Fantastic.
There's been some excellent films. There was a BBC production not too long ago about a young woman. She was just put in child slavery as a maid, really, for an Indian family. And that, you know, that you didn't even, it wasn't until she was a teenager that she finally got away, and then it was just happenstance that she got away. But, you know, it was, in that culture, you know, it was like okay for them to have maids and slaves and things like that, you know. So I mean, it could be going on and we wouldn't know it because we don't know much about a culture. They don't know much about it, you know. And we're afraid to ask, and you know. So, but it was a really good movie, and it was real. It was a true story.
We've done some training with the Sheriff's Department here as well, and the sheriff, not the current one, he's come once, but the former sheriff, I don't know his name, I can't remember his name, was part of the task force, and then Chief McCubbins has come a couple times as well. We'd like them to get more involved. We'd like to do more trainings.
And we're happy to train. We trained all of LMPD over the course of a year.
That's great.
I find that they are very, very receptive to a lot of things.
Do we have any more questions? Well, thank you so much for having us. We really appreciate it.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
for coming. I'm so sorry that I missed it. Now I have to come to another one.
Yeah.
Does anyone want any posters?
But thank you for coming.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
I'll put one in
Okay.
our faculty lounge. Thank you.
One for the library.
Yeah, that's, I'll get one.
We've been talking about this for a while, so we're finally here.
Well, I'm glad, yeah, that's fantastic. And we're happy to come back anytime, or if you ever want to provide any education for anywhere, we're happy to provide education.
And did you say where we could get the, or when you're at that summit, there might be some of those chapsticks? No?
I can have some of those chapsticks out. But we're gonna, yeah, we're attempting to start an outreach here too with the chapsticks.
Right.
But yeah, typically when we do an event, we like bring the chapsticks out to like show people what they are and what they can do with them. Because it doesn't have to just be part of the outreach. I carry one typically sometimes in my purse, especially when I'm doing trips, so I can leave them in places, or if I'm at a hotel I can leave it, or leave it in the bathroom of like a truck stop or a rest stop. Yeah.
Or strip club.
Yes.
What?
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
We already called the meeting to order, and we have a determination of a quorum, and we introduced our guests. And I asked to have the agenda changed, to have the human trafficking people come first, but I never did get
Yes,
it.
we didn't approve the agenda.
We didn't approve the agenda change, so will somebody give me a motion to?
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Ayes have it. Okay. The next item is approval of our minutes from our last meeting. And who needs minutes? We're doing better. Do you need minutes? All right. So since everyone has read them,
I need a copy, please.
yeah, don't let my copies go to waste. There we go. All right. I'll give you a minute there. We actually had some to report this time.
Do we do?
Well, I have one.
You have one?
Yes, yes, thank you.
Sorry, so I get some.
Keep it with the record, or you?
Well, we do need one.
We are,
Yeah.
sorry.
Okay, are we ready for a motion on the minutes?
I move that we approve the minutes.
And we appreciate them as well.
And appreciate them as well, yes, thank you, Secretary.
Okay. We have a motion and I believe you seconded it. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. So our next item is our treasurer's report, which I just passed out.
No, this is a chairperson's report.
We've got a few of them.
Yeah. I'm sorry, everybody knew one, did they? Oh,
The previous balance was $6,231.74. We did have one payment paid out to the Standard for $445. That was to run an advertisement for the essay contest. I ran 3 times, which makes our account balance now at $5,786.74.
Make a motion to accept the treasurer's report.
We have a motion, is there a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. The ayes have it. Thank you. The next item is the chairperson's report. And I actually did have that.
Well, we have a copy of it. Is
Oh,
that
no.
I was wondering.
I'm looking for it. Yeah. Okay. At our last meeting, there was some discussion about the Americans with Disabilities Act and public recreational facilities, if you recall.
Yes.
And I looked and looked and looked and looked and looked. Did you have a chance to look?
I looked briefly. I didn't see anything about the parks.
All right. The only thing I could see is the Department of Justice signed an agreement with Norfolk County, Massachusetts, the city of Madison, Indiana, and I happen to know where that is, and Davis County, Kentucky, and Owensboro, under the Project Civic Access, that's the program they have, to improve access to public facilities. So that is the, and what that does is it ensures that, you know, there are drinking fountains where, you know, people can, with wheelchairs can get there, and there's places that people with limitations can walk and all those kinds of things. But as far as a widespread mandate, I couldn't find one. Now this was like an agreed order with the Department of Justice and with these three places, and then there's a whole list of other places in the United States where they have these PCA agreements, so that this is just one page of them, but they're specific counties or cities: Missouri, Texas, New York, New Mexico, Washington. So it also included accessible parking, accessible routes into and through the facilities, accessible restrooms, drinking fountains, and telephones, and a lot of state parks that's available, is it not? No? Yes? Yes. Accessible service counters and concession stands, accessible bathing facilities at public pools, and then it goes on to talk about physical modifications of polling places, and I do think polling places do have where you can sit, you know.
They do. I work the polls, and they've really made a great effort to try to fix that, you know, to make it more accessible.
So I'm thinking that we would have to have a formal complaint, and that it would go to the Department of Justice. We have a couple of attorneys here.
Oh, yeah.
No, I'm just saying.
Yeah, I
but
think so. It's
yeah.
a federal thing.
Is that what you do, like if you go somewhere and it's a county building or a city building and the doors aren't working, you know, and stuff like that? You know, you push and the door doesn't, you know, the doors don't work, and you tell them inside and they look like they could, you know, so, you know.
Yes. I
That
think
you
we
make a
did
formal
do,
complaint?
yeah, we did do a survey several years ago about, for the, you know, the courthouse and places like that, if they were accessible.
Right. I was just at the thing the week before the Bourbon Festival started at downtown, the old courthouse. That door didn't work, and
Did they have a,
out of order sign or anything?
no, yeah, did they have where you could press a lever and the door automatically open?
Yeah, and it didn't work. And I told them inside, and she's, you know, water off the duck's back. And then even then, when I was paying a bill down at the city complex or whatever they call it now.
City Hall.
Civic.
Is it the city hall right here by the?
Another one at City Hall, you press it, you might with just pulling on it, because it takes too long.
But then you can't pull it because if I have arthritis,
Right.
like me, I can't, I can't get a grip on it. I
Right.
can't pull it open. It's too hard for me. And the girl just sits up there in her little thing looking at you.
I know,
You know?
I know at the
Yeah.
library that they are on a little bit of a timer, because sometimes it might take somebody a little bit longer to get
Yeah,
through.
oh,
So
yeah, I know.
There is a little bit of a delay on those doors, and that's for a reason, but.
Yeah, I understand that,
Yeah.
because you're
Give
coming
people a
in
little more
and
time
you
to
gotta
get
sit
through the
and wait,
doors.
yeah.
Right.
No, when I got inside, I said something, they said, oh, it's been broke down for ages. Like, so what, okay, well, it's been ages, let's fix it.
Yeah. So that may be something that we might want to, well, definitely something we want to look into.
I did take some time to look at Dean Watts Park, the soccer fields.
Yes,
And, I mean, I definitely see where there's some issues where some of those soccer fields, whether it be the ground not level or whatever, as far as how could a wheelchair get up there, but, and I mean, the only paved path is the larger loop around, not in between the soccer field and stuff. So, I don't know that anything's required by law to do that. And of course, there's a cost to everything, so I don't know if that's something they'd be willing to look into. But we haven't had a formal complaint either. So.
Because, that needs to be something that happens here. It has to be something actually having.
I can't hear you.
I can't hear you.
I'm
sir.
sorry. Is there a formal complaint?
Well, I think that what I would think is first you write a letter to the appropriate group and say, you've heard that the door at the city hall is not working, the handicap door, and you would ask that something be done to that. About that, then we can show we've done one thing, then you go up the next step.
Yes.
That's what I would think. So the old courthouse, isn't that the county? Does the county have that? So that would be Dean Watts. He is a group could write a letter.
That's where his office is in Old Courthouse.
Write a letter.
One of us would actually have to go there and experience it. Otherwise, it's hearsay.
Yeah. You should have the person that said that happened to her. So.
Exactly.
But they may have fixed it
I
by
know.
now, it's
I know.
after the Bourbon Festival, so
Okay, maybe they did. But
I can go up there.
We can do that, we can go test that and where else did we say that it was?
City Hall, I think.
City Hall,
City
the back door at City Hall, and then it was this door. This is west, are we southwest here? It's just our direction, I'm trying which door it was that I went in, the courthouse. I guess it's the southwest door, right?
And
Facing what?
The tavern,
Okay. That's west.
where the ramp
the old
is.
library. The old library. That door is the door I used, or tried to use.
Okay, where the ramp is?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
I don't know if there's not a ramp. I didn't go around.
Okay.
I know there's railing. back there. I was going to the door.
Okay. All right. And then we might mention, so those are all, well, they're not all. So we might want to write a letter to the mayor and also to the county judge executive about those things and see what kind of response we get. After, first we need to test them and then
Those doors do go out. Ours have had problems here at the library, so it could have just been you caught it on a bad day, but so we definitely want to go up there
Yeah,
and
we need
make
to
sure
go
that
up there.
Right.
if it's still a problem 2 or 3 months later, that's an issue.
Well, the one at the courthouse, downtown, I don't think was like, it was the one at the city complex, and or whatever, where she was like, well, that's been out forever. While you was, oh, okay.
Now, you're talking about City Hall.
Is that what that place is called? I'm sorry,
Right.
where the mayor is?
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, and pay your cable bill or whatever.
Because I know that, they get work on the streets to make sure that they were, sidewalks, I mean, to make sure that they were handicap accessible. So there is some movement here. And it was my understanding that there had been a group here that worked on those things. So, in the past, I don't know if it's still active or not. But yes, so that was what I found out about that, and that is what we'll do then. We'll test those things, and then I'll give it to you to write a letter.
Okay.
How often do you think we should test them, Michael, since you all have one here?
Well,
3 weeks to a month at least, give them time.
I mean, I would say every couple of months would be a good way to do it. Maybe every other month would be, or a few times anyway. I mean, we all.
Oh, I thought you meant to see how long it took them to fix it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, is that what you meant? How long it was in between? I mean, we don't have a definite date to begin when it would have went out. So, I mean, it's hard to say. I think you're right. I think just a letter saying that your door's not working would be the first step. And as long as they took care of it after that letter was sent, then that would be sufficient enough.
But how much time? You know what I'm saying? How much, that's what I meant. How much time from when you send the letter?
And 30 days?
Yeah.
I would think 30 days would be enough time.
Okay. And so what I was asking though was how many
times did you go and test the door? I mean, I think that would just be something that you noticed it was out. I don't know if we need to go up there every week. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, if ours go out.
City Hall once, because I always pay our lodge. I usually go to City Hall and pay it. And like you said, it's been a while since, I mean, I just did it just for GP, and I'm like, okay, it's not open. Then when I walked toward it, it came open and almost hit me in my face.
Oh, so it does work on the
it got a delay on it.
If ours go out, we get told pretty quickly. Yeah, it's usually that day that they go out. Somebody will say that there's a problem with your doors. So, yeah.
It looks like there had to be an inspection record on those. Like you do an elevator. I mean, there's an inspection record on elevators. And I don't think those doors.
Seems like it would be.
Do y'all have that here? Do y'all have those?
We have a company that comes out and services them, so I'm sure there's some kind of record. Now I don't know if
Okay,
that's.
I just wondered. I mean, just because now they know that through the elevator. So.
So who's writing that? Sorry. Or who's
Well, we'll do that. Let's get
test
somebody
it
test
first.
it.
Yeah, let's get somebody to test these
Yeah.
things before we.
Whose responsibility that was?
And they signed a test.
Okay, you've already been out to the soccer field.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's just something we can mention in our letter to them.
I have to go to the old courthouse tomorrow, because we got road cleanup to pick up stuff. So you said the door over by the tavern?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, like where she said there was a ramp.
Right, I tested that morning.
Okay. And then the back door of City Hall.
I can walk over there and do that.
Okay. All right. Is there anything else on that? Now, the City of Bardstown has requested that the commission be available to discuss the role of commission with community members. Get involved in your city, local city government. I didn't have any pretty ink to put on. It was really tough. But unfortunately, you will get your copy in black and white. So I received an email from the Kathy Graham, and she asked that, did you want to see it? Anybody else want to? And it's going to be, she emailed me and she said that she would like the Human Rights Commission to be there. And it's going to be, which is another thing, it's going to be at the City of Bardstown Educational Center, which used to be my old Kentucky home high school.
Oh, next to Foster Heights.
Next to Foster Heights. It's on Muir Avenue. And well, it's self-explanatory, so. And I emailed her and I asked, she said it's gonna be on the second floor. And I see that the elevator available, so. If anyone would like to go with me, fine. If not, I'll be there with pamphlets. I'll have to get some pamphlets from you, Michael.
Okay. They're outdated as far as members go, but
The basic information.
the basic information is the same.
All right. And then I believe that, let's see, you got an invitation too, didn't you?
Yes. In the mail, we got an invitation from the Hopkinsville Human Relations Commission in the city of Hopkinsville, inviting us to their annual Mayor's Unity Breakfast that will be held on October 22nd, so that same day. It's a breakfast. It starts at 7:30 a.m. They said they would appreciate our support by purchasing a reserve table that will seat 8 for $80. The keynote speaker will be Reverend Lisa Lewis Balboa, pastor of Freeman Chapel. So they also at the breakfast present an award to someone who's making a difference to improve the community. I didn't know if y'all had participated in that in the past at all, or if we've received an invitation in the past, but just wanted to pass on that information.
Did you get it as an email or just a?
It's just a letter, yeah. They came into our P.O. box.
Okay.
Is there an individual cost in that? Is there an individual cost?
It just mentions the table of 8. And it says if you need more than one table, they can work with you, but.
We're talking about if you need less than one table.
Yeah, I didn't
That was
specific to that. Yeah.
Okay, is there any interest? Okay.
Not if we're gonna do this,
Right, yeah.
these
Do
are-
two things I want to do.
Yeah, I understood. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So that's,
It's down by Fort Campbell.
Well, no, it's Hopkins, Christian County, it's the coal mines, underground coal mines. That's where I'm from, Madisonville. Madisonville, not Madison, Indiana. It's the largest small-minded town in America.
all right, that concludes my report. Committee reports. We got 2 committees to it. Do you have anything to report? Okay.
I'm thinking, since, I had messaged and tried, and that maybe if there's someone else that would like to try that, but my thinking is in the way that it was basically explained, what,
Michael,
like
can't
someone
hear
put
you,
it
I'm
into,
sorry.
once someone put it into a little bit of perspective is, and that's the reason I was asking about the Bardstown involvement there, is that unless we have an incident, unless we have, a complaint, it's not listed as a priority at all. It falls into the file 13, and unfortunately here, so I think it's something we may work on in the future, but right now, I don't see it as as something that we're going to be able to accomplish in either of the departments. So
Okay,
I
in the
would-
city or the county?
exactly, I'd like to just
So-
drop that right now
All
and then
right.
come back, revisit it later.
Okay, so you're on the Fairness Committee?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. The next committee is our program committee that's coming up November the
essay committee.
Yeah, the essay.
It's, what is it? It's November
It's in the minutes, I
Yeah.
think.
Changed it to November 16th.
November the
16th, yeah.
16th.
To get moved to the Civic Center. The deadline has passed for the essays. We've gotten got one by mail, two by email, and several from St. Joseph. So we've got some that we haven't had a chance to go through them yet. We're going to, when we meet here in a couple of weeks, we'll narrow them down and have some for the whole commission to look at that point. They might want to add anything about the essays.
We haven't really seen them yet.
Yeah, we haven't. We've gotten a few, but we haven't had a chance to go over them. The deadline was just last Friday, so we haven't had a chance to go over them, but we will when we meet here in a few weeks. So at the next meeting, we'll have, we'll be able to pick our winners for the event on the 16th. What we would like to do today is pick who we were going to choose as the Achievement Award for who in the community has done something to promote human rights in Nelson County. We've come up with 3 potential groups that we would like to reward. Michael's got a little sheet here about each one. So we would like to vote today to try to figure out who we should honor at the ceremony.
And are we going to do the paper vote?
Yeah, we'll do a vote afterwards. We were thinking that everybody could vote for 2, pick a first place, and we can all write this down on a piece of paper and then tally
You
at
have
the
one?
end. If everybody would pick 2 different groups, the first group you pick will get 2 points. The second group you pick will get 1 point. Then we'll tally at the end and see which one we will recognize.
Now, this is for the recognition.
The recognition, yes. So the essay part of it, we'll do at the next meeting. So we haven't had a chance to go through the essays. This is just for the achievement.
Do you want to do it on this piece of paper?
You could, yeah, that would be fine. We're just going to count the first 2, so
Okay.
so I guess just mark 1 and a 2. 2 is actually who you want. You're giving 2 points to that first group, so whoever you want to give 2 points to, that's going to be your main pick, and then 1 for the other. And we've got some people to talk about each one today.
Okay.
So, Mary, do you want to talk about the? Oh no, I'm sorry. Amelia was going to talk about the New Life Center.
Yeah, well, that sums it up really well. What they do, they were really excited that we had recognized them, and they, as it says in this little paragraph, they have teenage parents to grandparents. They said what's really surprised them is that the number of grandparents that are coming in saying, I'm raising my grandkids now and I don't know, it's been so long since I've parented. So they have a lot of grandparents. They also collect donations of diapers and anything that you want to give along the baby line. And then when teenage parents, particularly who are in need of those things, when they take the classes, they get points and they can spend them in their store. So they have kind of a practical component too, and I just thought they were worth mentioning. So that was one of the people.
Where are they located?
They've moved. They used to be in front of St. Vincent de Paul. I don't know what that building is called, but it's gray. It's a gray building, but they've moved now, and they are across the
It's going to be
street.
Matthews Heights old office.
Yes,
They're
that's.
going to be with the county attorney.
Oh,
Yes.
used to be.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Across from 5 Star.
Oh.
Hmm. Okay.
And if I may add to that, I work with large dependency neglect abuse cases in the court system. And they send a lot of people, they say a lot of them are court ordered, but there have been some people who really, they felt so good about what they learned that they volunteered there afterwards. The people really helped them a lot, and this person that I'm thinking about particularly really needed a lot of help. But he, it took for him, and he volunteered there, so I would say that was a good nomination.
We had quite a few different ones that we talked about. There's a lot of good groups out there.
Just a quick question about the New Life Center. Do they provide parenting classes
Yes.
there? Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry.
In addition to the other things,
Yeah, it's
Court order parenting. Court order
Yeah.
parenting, right?
Oh, I see, mentoring and education, okay. All right.
Bethany Haven.
So Bethany Haven is a transitional homeless shelter. It's been operating in Bardstown for quite a while. They do an annual golf tournament, which was in August. But they've been doing that since the mid-1990s. Not exactly sure when they started, but at least since then. And Really, they try to encourage those in need to become self-sufficient, and so try to help them get a job, establish a budget, and get them on their feet. So the average stay is about 80 days at their location, but it varies depending on need. But they focus just on single women and families right now. They don't have the facilities to take care of the single men as well. They have 7 rooms right now. They're looking to expand, really trying to have some more facilities where they can help out a lot more people and also address the need of single men that may be in that situation. So, yeah, really looking to expand. They said a lot of people don't realize there's a need here in this area, but that they have to turn people away on a regular basis, almost daily basis.
I talked to first Dan Mosley Ballard about the Tom McKay House, and then the Tom McKay House and Guthrie Opportunity Center are actually 2 separate entities, and we ended up deciding that the Guthrie Opportunity Center was the one I wanted to present to you guys. And I talked to Scarlett Hibbs in length about that, and it operates with community care. It's supportive of community care, but of course community care is a governmental program that has real specific kinds of limitations. It has a box within which it operates. And the Guthrie Opportunity Center has been in existence for about 5 years. And the population that they serve are disabled, disadvantaged, mentally handicapped adults, which right now they say they're serving about 90 people, and they think that they have as many as 200 that they are unable to accommodate at this point. But their big focus is education, and they've really gone great guns at recruiting and going out and looking for possibilities in food service. They're looking at a commercial shredding operation. As you probably know them because they recycle. They handle recycling for us. That's a population that's considerable in Nelson County, and it's growing. And they this year put into effect a bridge program from the schools. A lot of people age out of special services at 21, and sometimes a little bit sooner. And so we do have families who have adults who need to be vocationally educated and also socially accommodated in our culture, and that's the mission of the Guthrie Center. So they too are a wonderful place.
All 3 are good nominees. It's tough to choose from, but yeah, if you would put 2 points down next to the group you want to win the award, and then 1 for a second place, and we'll tally up the votes. Yeah, I'll take it.
I wrote all over mine. Sorry about that. Paying attention. Makes you feel guilty leaving one out.
Oh, it does.
If we want to move on,
but there are other years
we'll
too.
do this together.
Is there anything else while they're telling those? Your report is over, right?
Yes, this was it. So 2 for Guthrie.
212.
2-1 for Bethany.
Oh, did you have a report?
No, I have not.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay, no.
I think you did chime in there if you did.
I would, that's what I would admit back to.
I guess, Kathy, that if we were able to make it to either this Bardstown event or the other event, that would count for a training?
Yes, it would be a training.
Okay. Well, I guess this one maybe wouldn't be a training, but the human rights or human trafficking.
The human trafficking thing would be absolutely wonderful, and Michael brought up that possibly the commission would pay the $20 fee. I don't know if
is there anybody interested in going that you think they could make it?
I'm interested.
Well, I was going until she changed the date back.
To the 20th, yeah.
When
But
is
I'm
that?
already
'Cause,
obligated.
You know, I missed all
The
that.
22nd
Tuesday,
is Tuesday.
October the
20th.
20th. Yeah.
Oh, 20th?
Yeah, she
Yes.
changed, she's.
So, and it is, but what day of the week is that?
It's a Tuesday.
It's a Tuesday, okay. I would be interested in going, I have to check my schedule, but I think that if it's a Tuesday, I could do it.
Is it,
It's all day.
It's okay.
All
I mean, as long as I
day, so
get back
it's
to
in the
work.
morning?
That when I went to over now.
Oh, yeah,
Uh-huh.
sure. Okay, we've got the vote tallies in. Bethany Haven received 11, the Guthrie Opportunity Center 9, and New Life Center 4. So the Bethany Haven would be our recipient this year.
Okay.
And I'll, do you know, do you want me to contact them, or do you want to contact them?
Either way.
I don't care, I know you had called them
Yeah,
once
so,
before, so.
okay, so I'll just follow up with.
Okay.
Since I contacted. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So now we'll know what to engrave on the,
Yes, and I'll get with Kelly on that, because Kelly was going to take care of that part of it, so.
now we were trying to decide who wanted to go to the human trafficking.
I can't make it on the 20th. I'd like to, but yeah. So,
I need to check my calendar, but definitely interested in it.
But yes, that would count as a
You would like
training,
to-
actually.
Okay. I think Miss Bell, is it Bell?
Yes.
Okay, I want to make sure. I think she's interested in going too. So. Did you get a handout for that?
Mhm.
Okay.
Say 20 or the 22nd?
20.
the 20th is the day.
Tuesday.
Did they say what time it started?
I think she said 8 to 5:30.
I'd be interested in that. I think I'd be able.
Okay, and then are we gonna pay the $20?
Once you have a confirmation, let me know, send me an email once you have a confirmation of how many are going, and I'll worry about doing the online. I think, what did they say, there was an
Yes,
online
it's an
checkout?
online.
I'll take care of that part once we have a number as far as how many people are gonna be attending.
Can you do it that way? Okay.
Did you need a ride and stuff?
Yeah, I just was gonna see if we could, if there's any way we could.
I don't know
all go.
if anybody wants to ride, but if you are interested in riding, you can go with me. If you don't mind, you might be sticky in my car. With your little kids.
Never mind,
But you're welcome to
it's
go.
cigarettes.
Okay, what, how soon should they let you know?
By the end of the week, probably, would be good. Well, actually, I'm on vacation. I'm just thinking about that. Let's say that, what is it from?
Well, I'll just start right now. I can go for sure.
Okay,
Yeah.
so there's one come for sure. Anybody else know for sure that they are going? Because I'll go ahead and make them.
I've got to double check my calendar just to be, I don't want to make you do twice the work, but I'll let you know today.
Okay, let me know by the end of the day.
And I will too.
Okay.
By the end of the day?
I know for sure, but I don't know, we need to know if how do I want to join this commission, how do I join?
You have to be appointed by the
Okay.
mayor or the.
So you can't just be a member of like the human rights group, or you guys are, there's no bigger, like, it's you guys?
The county and the city both appoint five appointees each, and then you have a term, and once the term's up, you can either ask to be, put back on the commission, or some people leave the commission at that point, so.
I was thinking there was like a bigger body of people that you guys were in charge of, or over, you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Like a club, like a, so no, okay.
Yeah, we're appointed.
Well, you said something earlier about the pamphlet and the members had changed.
Oh,
And
that's our sheet, yeah, and it's just changed as members have come and
These.
gone.
And
Yeah,
you meant these
exactly.
people.
I meant the
Okay.
people here, yes.
That's where I was getting
Who were
that
appointed.
thought.
Right.
I'm sorry, okay, so, yeah, okay.
So, do we need to make a motion on that about payment?
don't think so, do we?
Okay.
We need to make, I think as long as you approve it, we're
Yeah.
good.
I can tell you the minutes, I mean,
It's in the minutes.
And the ordinance specifies that training can be reimbursed.
Right.
So,
Right.
I think it's
Mhm.
pretty good.
So yeah, just let me know by the end of the day and I will, I'll go online tomorrow and reserve a spot for everybody.
Is there anything else that needs to be brought before the commission?
What about the, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to be, what I am speaking, that's me. Is anybody, or how, does anybody have any idea how I could get some, does anybody think it's a good idea to protest the chocolate? I know that, you know, everybody's like, oh, chocolate and all that, but when you think about children being forced,
I don't know that much about it. Is there a certain company that's?
yeah, well,
that is-
Nestle and Mars are the two number one companies that are being, and they're actually getting sued by a lawyer in California representing the families because the families are saying that they would not have bought the product if they had known that the product was being produced by child slave labor. And that's his class action lawsuit and he's doing this in California. And I was just thinking, I mean, how many people, does anybody even, am I getting shocked looks from people, or have you never heard of this?
I have not heard of it, no, I have not.
Huh,
Yeah, it's the first I've heard.
have you never heard of it? Nobody's ever heard of
yes,
this?
Yes, I mean, you know, it's.
I'm sorry,
worldwide.
I-
I mean,
I-
you know, you look at the diamond trade in Africa and,
Yeah,
you know.
that's children.
Exactly.
Right, and all of them, but this is chocolate, and I thought it was Halloween, and I thought it might be a more appropriate time to do some sort of, you know, boycott, but to say don't boycott Walmart, just boycott Mars and Nestle's,
It's
you
not,
know?
it's not really the job of our commission to do
Uh-huh.
that kind of thing, though.
So if I needed to, or wanted to do
US
something like that, I have to do my own sort of grassroots
And you
thing.
might want to,
Yeah.
might want to consider a letter to the editor of the paper.
Yeah, well, I've
to
done that a
make-
couple times, and it never
very
gets
aware.
published, and even when I don't know why, I guess I must come across a little, I'm sure.
Well, yeah, so, I mean, we definitely applaud
Yeah.
community members being informed about different issues and being passionate about it and being willing to take steps and engage, inform people, so.
But I mean,
Keep up,
this
you
man
know.
says, well, if it's not happening right here, then who cares, right? Is that what you're
Well,
saying? Well, you know,
that's
we
part-
have some
And
people.
that's small town America. We may as well face that. That is not just right here. It's just.
No,
something
I'm not
that's
saying,
prevalent
yeah, oh
everywhere.
yeah, that's definitely, yeah. Oh, everybody
You know,
thinks
but
their
not in my
place is
town.
the, well, everybody thinks
Yeah.
their place is the Peyton place, and, you know, and it's, everybody's place is a Peyton place. But like this, like, you know, it is a slavery issue, you know, because they're not getting paid. You know, so I thought that sort of encompassed, you know, an anti-slavery, you know, plus it's children.
Right.
And I know we have some people, I know we have a few who were refugees at one time from Ghana, a couple of these Ivory Coast countries that this goes on. Maybe I guess I could speak with them to see if they know anything about this, but, you know, those sort of people are reticent about speaking because they're afraid, you know what I'm saying?
Repercussions back home.
Well, back home and how they're treated in the community, because a lot of them just want to fit in, because, you know, they don't want to stand out, you know.
So if I wanted more information about this, just go to a website.
Oh, yeah, I pulled up a whole bunch of things just before I came in here, and I was gonna print some things off, and I didn't quite have the time, and then I was like, well, what would you guys want to know? But yeah, it's just, you know, I thought this lawsuit was pretty interesting. They just brought it, you know, they're suing Mars and Nestle. They didn't mention Hershey, even though, you know, that Hershey is, they're like not the worst. But Nestle's #1 worst. But they're the #1 in the world. And Mars was next. And just to know your chocolate is coming, you know, the cocoa is coming from these children who are So I didn't realize. I thought, I guess I.
Okay,
More
well, we
weird.
appreciate that, and I'll, you know, try to educate myself more on that.
Okay, so you don't think I should try to do some sort of, because the reason it was brought to me was I wanted to do a chocolate thing where we went to the schools and we talked to the kids and we told them about these kids in the refugee camps. And because so much candy and stuff gets thrown away after Halloween because parents go through it or the kids don't want it, there's just a lot of waste, and of course with the holidays coming. So I was thinking we could somehow gather up this chocolate and send it and have the kids vote, you know, pick 3 of the camps, 1 in Greece, you know, whatever. And so, but then I finally got through with 1 in Greece, and then I got through to the one in Romania. And she's like, oh, no, you can't do that because a lot of the children are escaping from Africa. And we would be sending this chocolate back. You see what I'm saying? They wouldn't be funny. It wouldn't be, they wouldn't see it as a treat. You know, and so then I was like, oh, okay. Light bulb goes off, and maybe we should do something about the chocolate.
I think awareness is probably, you know, your best avenue there. You could find an association, you know, close by or within the 1,500-mile radius that is actually addressing this issue, and then bring that research and awareness back to, and say, talk to Trey or any of the people that are involved with the media here, and make people more aware. So many times, even through a social media campaign, that would be an excellent place to start, but you have to have that concrete proof, that research and that evidence.
Oh,
and
yeah, I mean,
typically in
it's cuckoo.
association,
It's been going on for...
Right. But you need to, you know, name your sources, you know, bring copies of your research and so forth to that, and like I said, if there is a local group that is doing that is always an excellent place to attain those resources and that research.
Right. It begins with an S in the university. It's a Southern University. It begins with S. They're the ones I just saw had a 2011 research thing. Okay then. I'll just...
All right, we need a motion to adjourn.
So made.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you, everyone.
I thought